Okay, there's something about grammar and about being lost in language, or about having a rule of language that is reflective of a value or a process or a human agreement of how to make intonations, and present the variables. Now, the thing about a rule in grammar is that it can have a regression where the context of the rule is then the subject of the next inquiry about that rule, and then it becomes mistaken for that which was previously being focused upon. So if I say, here, this is my hand, and look at that scar on my hand, and I could hold my hand still and just say hand, and the sign will point to the hand, but maybe you're not looking at my hand, maybe you're not looking at the scar, maybe you're looking at just me in the box, or everything else, the whole screen in front of you, but you're not paying attention to the hand. So the rule is that I want you to look at the hand. So I might make a gesture, or I might move it. I might accent this. This is what I want you to look at, making it distinct than the static background. Or I might move the background and say, look at my hand, and make distinct that this is what I'm referencing, although you might want to follow the movement more so. So then I could point to my hand. No, look at this hand. This is the hand that I'm talking about. But then you might point on your screen and point to this hand on your screen, right? And say, oh, and be pointing to the wrong hand that I'm referencing. So the original point was that I wanted you to look at my hand. And then, but you could be looking at me pointing to my hand, you're looking at me ramble about my hand, you're looking about all these other things, but does the hand, or the pointing to the hand, or the accenting the hand, or the discussing, well, that man was just a minute ago talking about pointing to his hand, and then talking about pointing to the hand that was pointing to his hand. Now, this is an argument about the context going on indefinitely, and this is what I would call language recognizing itself. It's where the rule of the grammar, trying to be focused on, trying to speak of its topic, is then stepped back into a greater covalence. And I call it a covalence because here's the first rule, here's the second rule, here's the third rule, meaning these are all the stepping back from what it is we're trying to speak about. Well, what it is we're trying to speak about, or I'm speaking about, is the hand. So without using any arrows, all I can use is a signifier, and a phonic signifier. I'm not writing out the word hand, and I'm not putting up a little graphic that says hand for anyone to read, even though I guess I could, and maybe I will. Ta-da, I'll put up hand there. So the thing is that the initial, the primary occurrence, the primary object of the discussion of grammar is not where the confusion lies, if there is confusion at all. If there is confusion, it might lie between not knowing whether or not it's the moving thing that is the base in which to focus on the static thing, or if it's the static, the moving thing, that is the focal point that you're supposed to be focusing on, or if it's the arrow to the hand, or if it's this hand pointing to that hand. Meaning, these are all distancing. These are all where problems are, but we also have a grammar of refocusing. We have a regressive grammar. So you might have infinite recurrence in rules, but we also have a grammar of regression where we can say, no, what I'm referencing, oh, no, you got it all wrong. It's not me. It's not this video. It's not you pointing. It's none of that. It's just this hand, and I just wanted to point to the scar on my hand. And that's all I'm talking about. And so we commonly agree that we can sift through and solve or decode these particular problems with the language. But these become where there's a disagreement or a separation, and there's non-agreement, then you have argumentation. Argumentation does not mean necessarily to butt against, but it means to differ. and to hold position. And so if there's a difference, then we try to resolve the difference. And so we have resolution processes that we as English speakers also use. So I'm not going to clarify that any more than to say we have them. We have everything. We have anything and everything that we can draw upon. Meaning we can invent new words and we can plug them in and make a sense out of them. But when we find out their binaries, their opposites, or their contextual meanings, we can monize them in cases of plurality. We can find their opposition and then deconstruct the opposition. And we can create a new grammar, a new dialogue in which to dissect and come in and speak about whatever the focal point is, or focal points of what it is one is trying to discuss. The language has this. This is inherent. And so somebody that sees the world as completely different, sees themselves as completely unique, is working through, I suspect, a monologue in the head that like any child's imagination, ask them to draw something, you're going to see that they're seeing the world differently. They're living it. They're experiencing it. But are they experiencing their physiology, that world, differently? Or are they experiencing how it is their mind is recognizing the differences? And so is there a layering process? I'll say, well, there's the world, and then there's the language, and then there's the rules of the language, which constitute the grammar, and then there's the focusing not on the world, not on the world anymore, and not focusing necessarily on the language, but focusing on the reiteration or the rules and the infinite re-engagement of the rules. And all that this re-engagement gets to is a focal point or an argumentation that suggests that the language in all of its universality and all of its perspective shifts and possibility is the ground, instead of recognizing that the language was inherited off of the world. So the world is parallel to the language is parallel to the grammar, and the grammar in all of this is parallel to the life of us. So you have all these things lined up. They're parallel. They're even. It's all here. The verification is found in values. Most men have their hair short. Most women grow their hair long. This is something we describe with our language, but it's a convention based on values that we can then say, oh, well, most women wear their hair long, and I can make a textual statement. I don't have to just say something phonically. And then you get the difference between texts, graphics, and texts, and phonics. And then you get the interplay of this medium, this interactive, multidimensional medium of text and graphics and phone all put together as one.